Hey guys, it's your boy M.K.S here, but finally back here with part 2 of my list of famous dyslexic inspire people. I especially hope people from Africa and Asia see this video and share it and things like that, because I hope that when people in those countries, especially in Asia and Africa and places like that, see a dyslexic student, they'll see what they can contribute. And as an anti-imperialist, I hope to look at what dyslexics can contribute to countries that were colonized, as well as emerging economies and things like that. So I'd love to work with organizations such as Made by Dyslexia and the Dyslexic Advantage to go to these countries and talk about the positive sides of dyslexia and what we can contribute. Also, as an Italian football fan, I also dream to go to Italy and talk about what we can contribute as dyslexics and what we have contributed to the world, and using examples and things like that. I often joke about being mixed race and mixed up, because I say I'm an anti-imperialist, but I also support Italy, which I know can be very racist and imperialistic. Anyway, I'm a bit nervous about this video because it's quite late and my brain is sort of turning to mush. So I hope I remember this list or think of some names to cover, because otherwise it'd be a bit awkward. But as I say, I hope this video inspires many people, and please do like and share the video to support me and help me to spread the message, and also share it with any dyslexics, especially ones who are struggling with confidence and self-esteem, and especially ones in developing countries or colonized countries. So I hope I can support them. Anyway, on a crack with the list, something like that. Anyway. So here I go. So as I say, this is continuing on from part 1. So I was spending ages trying to write this list for Facebook as well. So it took me ages, so I'm a bit tired, but anyway, I'm going to try and crack on with it. So number 11, Jennifer Aniston, who is an actress. Obviously, she was in Friends, for those who ever watched Friends. I know it's a popular show. Who is also, strangely, of Greek origin or descent. And I found that quite ironic, because apparently dyslexia is a Greek word which means difficulty with languages, such as reading, writing, spelling, and stuff like that. So she recently revealed that she has dyslexia too. Number 12, on the note of dyslexic people being struggling with languages or reading, writing, and things like that, it's quite interesting how many dyslexic authors there are, or writers. And if you type in Google dyslexic writers or authors, you'll find quite a long list. And one of them was the late, I don't know why people call them late when they passed away, but the late Octavia E. Butler, I think her name was. And she was an African-American science fiction writer, novelist. So obviously she went through a lot of discrimination being African-American as well, and also struggled with being dyslexic, but she managed to write some great, to be honest, I've never read them, but apparently they were very well received novels, like science fiction. She used her imagination, and with dyslexia we have a lot of imagination. So maybe like with ghostwriters, for those who have dyslexia who want to be writers, with ghostwriters and editors and things like that, or people you love and trust who can get your thoughts on paper. If you struggle with spelling or things like that, you can still become a writer, author, because there's many. Like, again, if you check even on YouTube, you'll see lots of videos by dyslexic authors themselves. And also if you go on Google, you'll see lists of people like that. Another source to check out is potentially, if you want to find out more about famous dyslexics, is Wikipedia. They have a list of loads of famous dyslexics, or just Googling it, or even check on YouTube. There are many different videos about famous dyslexics and things like that. Number 13, Stephen Naismith, a footballer. I chose him as number 13 because obviously someone has to be number 13 if I'm doing a list like this. And he did play for, or he's quite connected to, a football team which is a rival to the team I support, which is I support Celtic. So he played for Rangers, which is our main rivals. So I'm including him as number 13th, and he's still a dyslexic guy. So as I said before, like, I'm still including every possible dyslexic, even if their contributions were not always the most ethical, or even if they do things I disagree with, I still see them as quite inspiring because they're dyslexic. So I think it'd be great if, like, I could have fundraisers through soccer and be involved in soccer aid or football aid or whatever you want to call it, and to symbolise that you can still get along even if you support rival teams. I'd love to do fundraisers with Stephen Naismith and people like that. So he could play on one team and me on the other or something like that, but we could still fundraise for things like homeless people, prison reform, or people with dyslexia having more confidence, or the NHS or healthcare around the world, including in developing countries, especially. So yeah, I'd love to connect with people like Stephen Naismith, even though he played for a rival team, because I want to show it's not like to be too bitter about it and that sort of thing. I hope that made sense. Number 14, another one connected to football. I'm sure there are many football players, soccer players, with dyslexia, and I'd love to find out more of them. But Sam Allardyce apparently had dyslexia. I'm trying to include the ones who said they're dyslexic in their own words, rather than people who are just speculated to be dyslexic on YouTube or on Google, like people like the late Muhammad Ali, who said to be dyslexic, but there's no actual evidence or way of testing to see if he was actually dyslexic. I think one of his children is dyslexic, and normally it's genetic, so he possibly is. But yeah, so I'm not sure about Sam Allardyce, but I think he's dyslexic as well. It'd be interesting to hear what he says about it. Number 15. Again, I'd love to find out if there are more dyslexic people in sports. Again, another dyslexia resource is the podcast, or the Codcast, I think it's called, a play on the word podcast, which talks about famous or successful dyslexics, and it talks about a few sports stars. There are quite a few rugby players. I think one is called Scott Quinnell, and another one is something Logan, but I can't remember his name, so please forgive me for that. But yeah, you can Google a lot of these names. But yeah, I hope this list, as I say, does inspire people as well. So number 15, I think there are many famous sports stars with dyslexia, and please check them out on the Codcast as well. Number 16, there are also many dyslexic entrepreneurs and people like that you can find out on like Dyslexic Advantage, where they've talked about the dyslexia, like people like Jack Horner, who's a paleontologist, talking about Friends. I talked about earlier that he's a real life Ross Geller from Friends. Sorry if you don't watch Friends, you won't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so he's a paleontologist who discovers things about dinosaurs, and apparently he's the first person to discover a dinosaur embryo and things like that. So he was quite involved as well in the making of Jurassic Park with another dyslexic, Steven Spielberg, coincidentally. Number 17, there are also many videos about famous dyslexics like Richard Branson, Jamie Oliver, Keira Knightley, and people like that, Orlando Bloom, and many others, from Made by Dyslexia, which is a charity that looks at the positive side of dyslexia. Excuse me. And there are many. It's run by many celebrities. 18. I'm not a big fan of like politicians necessarily, but there are quite a few politicians who are dyslexic or said to be dyslexic, like Michael Heseltine. Michael Heseltine, who's also an entrepreneur and a politician, and Matt Hancock, who came out as dyslexic, as he put it, on the Made by Dyslexia videos, where he did like a presentation, or was part of a presentation, as well as many other prominent dyslexics, such as business people and many others. I think one or two politicians. 19, I think his name's Ian Lavery, or even Ian Lavery, or I don't know how to pronounce it, so please forgive me for butchering his surname, but who is apparently also dyslexic, and he is, I think he was the chair of the Tory party, or Conservative Party here in the UK, which is probably quite strange because Conservative Party is, or the Tory Party, or whatever you call it, is conservative, funny enough, and probably many people would expect a dyslexic person to not be conservative, but anyway, I find that quite strange, so I don't know if you agree with me on that one. And number 20, my mind is turning to mush, so please forgive me, but again, you can check out on Google or YouTube, and check out organizations such as Understood, Made by Dyslexia, Dyslexic Advantage, and Wikipedia, which has like a list of loads of dyslexic people. Like, again, please forgive me if I butcher this name. I know I'm half Indian, but my pronunciation is not very good, even for English words. So Abhishek Bachchan, I think he's the son of Amitabh Bachchan, who's also dyslexic apparently. So yeah, please let me know what you think about this video, and I'm out. Peace and love.